Hi guys, and welcome to Miss Kasten's virtual art room. Today we're going to be doing two different options for our asynchronous learning. You have the option of creating one of these really fun cutout snowflakes out of paper, or drawing a really fancy snowflake. So some of you, if you have gone to the school to pick up your packets, may have gotten some different colored pieces of paper. So these have been pre-cut into squares for you already. So you do not need to do anything to them except for fold them and cut them. And I'm going to show you how we're going to do that. If you are not allowed to use scissors, or you are having a hard time doing it this way, then you can do the drawing. I'm going to show you guys how to do the cut paper snowflake first, and here are the materials you're going to need. You will need the square pieces of paper that are colored. They also might be white. If you do not have one of these pieces of paper, you can also use some notebook paper. Maybe you've got some junk mail. Make sure that it's junk and not something important. So I'm just going to take a piece of notebook paper out of my notebook. And one thing I notice is that it's got all of these along the edge, and it's not a square. So I'm going to cut that edge off. I'm going to use that red line right there. So then I don't have any of those holes either. I'm going to use that red line. All right. Now, to make this into a square, I'm going to take my piece of paper and I'm going to fold it diagonally and make it meet the other edge. See how this edge and this edge are joining together? They're meeting up. And I'm going to fold it. And this paper that's left over the edge here, I'm going to cut that off. All right. So now I've got this extra piece of paper that I cut off. I don't need that. I'm going to get rid of it. And now I've got a square piece of paper. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to continue showing you guys on a different piece of paper. All right, so here I have a square piece of paper. You may have done snowflakes before. I know I've taught them to you guys in the past. So there are some fancier ways of folding these, but I'm going to show you guys the basic way. So you fold your paper in half. Again, I'm going to make this edge meet up with this edge as best as I can. And for my little friends, if you need help joining those edges together, ask an older sibling or another adult at home. Okay, so now I've folded it in half this way. Staying folded, I'm going to fold it again in half, joining this edge and this edge. Awesome. And I'm going to push that down, push, push. And I'm going to now fold it in half diagonally. Now remember, diagonally means going across. So here's my dotted line. I'm going to fold, making this point go to this point. All right, so now I know that this is the center. I'm going to draw an arrow saying center. Okay, so I am going to draw shapes that go off the edges. Okay, because in my snowflake that I already made, let's fold it back. So here it's in half again, and then our final diagonal fold. And if you can see, I cut pieces out, but I didn't cut all the way across to the other side. Because if you do that, then you're just going to chop a whole section off of your snowflake. Okay, so you're going to be making shapes that go into and back out, but not all the way across. For example, I'm going to do an example on here. If I have my triangle piece of paper, and I know that this is the center, okay, I'm going to draw some different shapes that go into, but not all the way through. So maybe I want to do some rectangles, a half circle. Maybe I want to cut out the center, and that's okay. This is the only part that you can cut all the way across. So maybe I'm going to do like a V shape. And just some really simple shapes that you can do. Maybe I want it to be even on both sides. Okay, it kind of looks like a pizza. All right, so I'm going to do those same shapes on my piece of paper. So here's the center, and I want to cut that center out. And I'm going to do half circle, half circle. Same thing on the other side. Okay, it might be easier for some of us if we just make that to a point, so I'm going to do that. Just remember that they cannot touch. So see how there's a space in between? They're not connecting. That's what we want. And you know what? I'm going to make this edge a little bit fun, so I'm going to cut this shape out too. So now when I'm cutting, I'm just going to follow those lines. I'm not going to go all the way through. So here we go. I'm going to cut on the line that I drew, being careful not to cut into those other sections. Okay, so there's one piece. Okay. Still following along the lines that I drew, keeping it folded. So with your first one, because you should have gotten a few pieces of paper if you got some paper, or if you were able to go up to the building. Make the first one a little bit simpler so that you get the idea of how it works. And then maybe go a little harder like I did with your next ones. And I've just got that center to cut out. All right, so we're gonna see what this looks like when I open it up. So I'm gonna open it up in half. Okay, looking pretty good. Open it up again, there's half. And open it one more time. Awesome. I love my new snowflake. It's looking pretty cool with my other snowflake. You want to be careful when you're opening these. Awesome. So these are my paper snowflakes. Okay. And I'm going to link some other videos that show you how to do these too, because sometimes you just need to see somebody else doing it. So I'm going to link those as well in your seesaw assignment. Now I'm going to show you guys how to draw a fancy snowflake if that's the route that you decide to take. So again, I'm going to show you my example. So here is my example of a fancy snowflake. To do my fancy snowflake, I'm going to take a new piece of paper. And first for the background, I wanted to lightly draw some gusts of wind. So on my light purple paper, I'm going to take some dark purple crayon and I'm going to do some spirals. Remember we learned about spiral lines? So I'm going to do some spirals. And they can overlap. Just filling up my paper with spiral lines. Okay, maybe I want to take some purpley pink as well. These are fun. Oops. All right, so I've got my spiral lines. Now I'm going to take a darker color for my snowflake. So I am going to, since this is a square piece of paper, I'm going to go from, we're going to do more diagonals. I'm going to go from one corner to another corner, the opposite corner, across. So I'm going to do all the way across, and I'm going to do another all the way across the other way, making a big X. Now I'm going to do a big plus sign in the middle, so going straight through the center. Okay. I am going to draw little triangles on the ends of these lines. So right now we're reviewing shapes and lines. So we've got some diagonal lines and straight lines and swirly lines or spirals. And now we're doing shapes. So I've got a triangle. Let's do some other triangles. So these look like arrows. Oops. And I'm going to do some kind of V shapes. V, V, V. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. See, I'm spinning my paper so I can get to each one easily. Just because your paper is in front of you one way doesn't mean that you can't turn it another way. All right, I'm going to do some circles inside. So big circle in the middle, and then a smaller medium-sized circle, an even smaller circle. Awesome, it's like a target. I think I'm gonna do some more V's. 1, 2, 3. Turn the paper. 1, 2, 3. Turn the paper. 1, 2, 3. Turn the paper one more time. 1, 2, 3. Awesome. I'm gonna do some ovals. Oval, oval, oval. And I'm gonna give my ovals some spikes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. What's 4 plus 4? 8. Good job. All right, so here is my fancy snowflake. You guys can just use your imagination to do your own. Again, I just used different kinds of lines and shapes to do my snowflakes. So that is up to you. And your project for this week, and we've only got 2 days, so you can either do the snowflake drawing or you can do the paper snowflakes. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with this, and maybe if we're lucky we'll get some real snowflakes outside so we can play in the snow over winter break. I hope you guys have a great winter break, and I look forward to seeing you in January. Have a wonderful time. Bye.